getting right into today's video. We're going to start off by removing my client's current design. This is one of the recent designs I did on her, and I am so excited to be switching it up. She always chooses the best design, so I get so excited when she comes in to her appointments. So starting off, I'm just going to be removing her gel and her 3D nail art that we did, including that top coat. I am using my speed at about 11,000 RPMs with about medium amount of pressure. I am not going in too hard because I do not want to remove any of the acrylic. Now, if she did have any lifting, I would go ahead and try to remove the bulk of that now at this point with this bit, but she did not. So we're just gonna focus on that design removal. Now, I will quickly mention she did break one of her nails, and I'm gonna be showing you guys in today's video exactly how I fix that, remove it, and do all that fun stuff. This is always such a heartbreak whenever a client comes in and she's like, this nail, and I'm like, oh no, here we go. So I quickly apologize for the blurriness in the video. Dust got on my camera and I did not catch it in time, but you'll see the difference whenever I do wipe it off. It is for a brief moment. So I'm starting off by removing that nail. This is the nail that I'm working on right now, that she started that sentence with, this nail right here. I'm going to focus on pretty much debulking that nail. So I am going to apply a little bit more pressure, up the speed if you need to, but I'm going to start filing down that acrylic extremely carefully. You see me pretty much working just in little bits and pieces. I get so scared to hurt my client whenever their nail is already hurt. So I try to be as gentle as possible. I'm holding the underneath of her nail with my ring finger and my pinky finger to stabilize it so that it doesn't wiggle back and forth. I'm also holding her finger very, very sturdy with the rest of my fingers that are free because, again, I do not want to hurt her. So I'm using the gentlest motion when I'm trying to remove that. And again, just debulking it for now, removing that lifted area. Had I known that pretty much the entire nail was lifted, I would have totally gone about the process a little bit differently. You can always use nippers to remove the lifted area, but I didn't know how bad it was. I thought she just had a crack. So I just started going in there, and then I realized that pretty much the entire nail had lifted. She did have a little moment at the gym, which was what caused the injury, but I left it alone for now. I did not want to touch it anymore because I, again, don't want to inflict any pain on her. So I'm going to let that finger rest for a little bit, start prepping the other nails with my sanding band and mandrel bit. I lowered the speed to 4,000 RPMs and very light amount of pressure while doing this process. I'm also going to be pushing back that cuticle area with this bit, removing any of the lifted area and just pretty much buffing off that shine. Now, I figured I would go ahead and remove the entire nail just to assess the entire damage. She said it didn't really hurt now at the moment. So I was like, all right, we're gonna go ahead and nip this off. You could use clippers, whatever you prefer. I just had that on hand, so I figured I would use that. Nipped the excess nail off, and now we're gonna go back in and finish removing that. She did request 0 soaking off. Again, because she did have it injured, and that is completely fine. I'm okay with removing it with a drill. It was a process that she preferred, but if you want to kind of speed up the process or work on the other nails while this one is getting removed, you can absolutely soak it off. Again, she requested me not to soak it off, and honestly, I prefer not to soak off because the process just seems a little bit lengthy and I do not like it. So at this point, the acrylic is really, really thin to pretty much non-existent. I showed her finger. I let her assess the damage. I pretty much asked her if she wanted me to go ahead and put another nail on it, how she felt about the situation. She pretty much just has a little bit of bruising, not really breakage at any part of her nail. It did get slightly damaged because it did pretty much lift off without it being ready to lift off. So she did have a little bit of like layers ripped off, which is natural whenever you pop off a nail like that. But as far as any blood, any cuts or anything like that, she was good. She just had a little bit of bruising, like I mentioned. So she requested me to put a nail back on. Always ask your client what they feel is best. And of course, don't ever try to put a nail on if there's any type of bad nail injury exposed. I would never do that. I always try to recommend them the best possible route. So we're just gonna finish prepping her natural nail. I went in with a diamond bit around that cuticle area, and then I'm going in with this ball bit to kind of buff off the excess dead skin, and then I am clipping off using a nipper to just gently remove excess dead skin from that area. I don't go in with extensive cuticle nipping. It's just not my thing. I'm not comfortable with it. So I'm just going in and just very gently removing the top layer of that dead skin area. I'm gonna finish clipping off her nail, and then I'm gonna file the rest of it off. And then we're gonna go back in with another tip, apply that with some glue, shape it out, and then we'll be able to go in with our acrylic application. Going straight in with my brush on glue and these tips from Amazon, which are my absolute favorite. They are square shaped and they are not C-curved, so I definitely prefer that. I'm going in and dehydrating the natural nail, removing the excess dust, and then I realized I needed to shape these out a little bit, so I went back in with my hand file and did that very quickly, squaring off that tip as well. I'm going in with the acrylic primer and adding that just to the exposed nail portion. Of course, you're gonna get a little bit on the acrylic as well, but do note that it is not necessary to apply primer on acrylic because it adheres together very well. So I'm just focusing on that growth portion, and then we're gonna go straight into our acrylic application. For our acrylic application, do note that I'm using the acrylic brush in a size 10 from Profiles Backstage. It's their Sculpted Like It's Hot, and it's in black. I freaking love their brushes, and I prefer to use a size 10 for fills just because I know I'm not gonna have to pick up as much acrylic. Now, of course, if you are doing a full set, 10 out of 10 recommend using a bigger brush. But again, just since I'm doing a small portion of the nail, I don't need a big brush for that. And I feel a lot more comfortable working with a smaller brush for smaller areas. So we're just gonna pick up a medium-sized bead of acrylic using that brush, applying that near the cuticle, holding the finger downwards, pushing up, and then brushing everything down. I'm gonna go in and finish applying that on the rest of the nails, and then I'm gonna go in with the full acrylic application on that ring finger since we are starting from scratch. Now for this beautiful color, it is the Sea Salt Caramel from Not Polish. Absolutely love it. It is the color that we have been using on her. I am literally almost out, so I will definitely have to restock a container of that. But that is how good it is. I've been using it so much on my clients and they absolutely adore the color as much as I do. And then for our monomer, I am using the Kiara Sky one. If y'all didn't know, I recently switched over because their products are HEMA free. And honestly, their monomer is amazing. Not having a biased opinion ever on any products. Their monomer is really, really bomb. I did a video not that long ago on comparing their enhancer drops, and the conclusion of that video pretty much was that I absolutely love the monomer on its own. It worked really, really well with pretty much every single brand of acrylic that I had, and it's the only monomer that I've noticed that does not switch it up. If anything, it makes the acrylic go on there smoother. So 10 out of 10 recommend it. I'm gonna go back in, finish applying my acrylic, and then we're gonna go straight into filing, shaping, and all the nail art good stuff. Now once everything is nice and dry, we're gonna go in and file those nails into perfect shaping. So we're gonna start off with the 5-in-1 bit. This one is from Kiara Sky in medium gray. I have my e-file at about 10,000 RPMs. And then I'm also using very light amount of pressure when doing this process, holding that finger nice and sturdy. And then we're gonna go around that cuticle, sealing that nicely. You wanna make sure that you focus on that cuticle area and make it nice and flush to the natural nail. If you did not know, if that acrylic is super bulky, it will cause lifting. So make sure you are sealing that cuticle properly. This bit is perfect for that. And there's tons of other bits as well that are super thin that will help get into that hard to reach area, but I absolutely love this one. And then I'm just briefly going over the entire surface as well to kind of smooth everything out. And then we're gonna get right into our shaping with our hand file. Now I'm going in with my Tammy Taylor peel and stick file. If y'all didn't know, this is the best file out there. 10 out of 10 recommend it. I purchased mine off of Amazon and I just buy them in bulk. That way I don't have to restock often. But I really love this hand file, and I know a lot of y'all did too. If you've already tried it out, struggling with shaping, this file is going to be a lifesaver. So definitely check them out. You can always buy one of their smaller packs to test it out to see if you like it. And then that way you're not buying an entire big pack and not using them. But I promise you, you will like them. So we're just gonna be filing those sides, and then I'm gonna be flipping the hand around to look at the nails from her perspective and filing it that way. Very quickly, we're gonna be removing all that excess dust, cleaning off the surface, prepping for our nail art using a lint-free wipe, a little bit of Young Nail Swipe. You can always use alcohol, or you can always have your client wash their hands. Always do whatever makes you happy. Now, she did request a magenta color. I do wanna take this moment to let you guys know that always ask your client what their definition of a color is, because I busted out my magenta color and I was about to mix something a little bit deeper, and then she was like, no, this is what I mean. And she totally showed me like a more of a burgundy color, like a maroon color, like a deep reddish purple color. So I was like, got it, we're gonna mix that up for you right now. So we ended up making it a little bit deeper, still kind of stayed with that pink tone that I originally brought out. And then we are using a cover gel polish from Profiles Backstage. It's called Peachin'. I couldn't find it on their website, but I'll definitely message them because I know a lot of y'all liked it on my other social media as well. So I'll try to find and locate that gel polish because it is definitely a popular one and I absolutely love it. And I know I'm gonna have to restock soon. So we're gonna be doing this marbleized Frenchie look. My girl loves Frenchies, so do I, so I'm not even mad at it. This is such a simple, stunning design. I went ahead and showed her what it would look like on the pinky first. She verified that she liked it, and then we're going in with the rest of the nails. So adding a thick layer of that Blossom Blooming Gel of your choice. I'm using the not polished one. And then I'm going to be marbleizing those two colors. I pretty much just pick up both colors that I'm using, or if you're using more, pick them all up and kind of put it on there. I drag it to one side, let it kind of blossom and bloom. And then once it looks pretty good, I'm gonna go in and carve out my Frenchie design using the Oopsie brush from Veeda Bella. And I just use a little bit of Young Nail Swipe to be able to finish removing all of the excess gel polish. And then always do 1 or 2 fingers at a time when using Blossom Gel. Wipe those sides. Do not forget to wipe those sides before you cure. And when I mean wipe and put in the light immediately, definitely take that advice. Otherwise, it starts kind of melting onto the sides and it totally will mess up your shape. And we do not want that. We need a good crisp shape. So I'm gonna finish doing that on the rest of the nails. Again, using that Oopsie brush to clean up and perfect the smile line for our Frenchie. And then curing in the light for a full 60 seconds. Always take that time to work on the other hand while one hand is in the light. And one more time, definitely cure in the light for 60 seconds. So I always go in each nail by nail, and then at the end I go one full 60 seconds. And then I'm going back in with my top coat. This is a stain resistant top coat from Young Nails. Purchase it off Amazon as well. If y'all didn't know, I love Amazon shopping. It gets here so quick, especially when you're in a pinch doing clients and stuff and you realize that you're running out of stuff. Definitely love Amazon for that. So I'm adding that top coat just to protect her beautiful design and prevent any staining. I'm adding a thin layer of that, focusing on that nail art, making sure that it is fully coated, and then we're gonna place that in the light for another 60 seconds. Of course, wiping those sides before we pop that in the light. I did go ahead and remove the tacky layer as well with a lint-free wipe and a little bit of Young Nail swipe. Totally lost that footage. And I'm just going in with my favorite cuticle oil. It's my collab with Profile's Backstage cuticle oil. Smells so good. And it doesn't leave the fingers greasy, which is super important for videos and pictures at the end. That pretty much concludes today's video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a ton, and I'll see you guys next time.